Hello, everybody. My name is Jack Whiting. I'm a high school intern at Blue Hill Observatory, and I've put together a presentation on the July 24th, 2008 tornado that tore through 52 miles of New Hampshire. This was an historic event. This tornado was able to stay on the ground for over 50 miles, which broke the record for the longest tracking tornado in New England, previously held by the 1953 Worcester tornado at 48 miles. This tornado began in southwestern New Hampshire in Rockingham County and tracked until lifting in Freedom, New Hampshire, near the state border to Maine. This is another look at the path from satellite 12 years after the event in 2020. There is still bald stretches of land where vegetation and trees haven't fully grown back after being uprooted by the violent rotational winds of the tornado. Unfortunately, a 50-plus mile tracking tornado was bound to cause damage to homes and businesses along the way. EF1 and EF2 damage was reported in Deerfield, Epsom, Barnstead, Pittsfield, Alton, Wolfboro, Ossipee, and Freedom. However, New Hampshire is primarily rural, so most damage was done to trees. This being New England, nobody in this path suspected a tornado because it was not forecasted, and it has almost never happened before. Tornado shelters are uncommon in this area, which greatly increase the chances of survival if you're directly hit. Leading up to this tornado, on the day before, on July 23rd, the high temperature was 69 degrees, which is almost 14 degrees lower than that month's high average. And the low temperature was 63 degrees, which is almost 4 degrees higher than that month's low average. The cold day was going to be met with humid, warm air coming up the Atlantic. And the week before has plenty of rainfall, which caused the ground to be saturated and the air to be humid. This would help thunderstorms form the next day. In the atmosphere, a setup for severe weather was taking place. Most of what we saw was common for stormy days in New England: a low pressure system over the Great Lakes, some atmospheric instability, and some convective available potential energy, or CAPE. But for July 24th, there was strong horizontal shear through the mid-levels of the troposphere, prompting strong rotation of thunderstorms when they formed. It is this abnormal mid-level rotation that led to tornadic development that day, along with other parameters, one being sufficient CAPE, which is the energy of rising air in thunderstorms. However, not a whole lot of CAPE was needed to spawn a tornadic thunderstorm on this day. That morning in Concord, New Hampshire, temperatures were 5 degrees higher than average at 63 degrees. Along with warmer temperatures, a high dew point crossing 70 degrees ensured that there was plenty of humidity to support thunderstorm development. This moisture was seen clearly in the water vapor satellite images that morning. Lighter tones indicate more moisture and darker tones show drier air. As you can see, there was plenty of moisture over New England that morning. At about 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, towering cumulonimbus clouds formed along a rough line in southwestern New Hampshire. These showers quickly became thunderstorms, and they joined into one uniform squall line that soon would house the record-setting tornado. The mild Cape values and lower temperature environment is common for tornadic squall lines. More often on warmer days, though, with stronger Cape, tornadoes come from large standalone supercells. Even though the squall line makes sense for the tornado to exist in, the early time of day, temperature, and obviously the location made this an exponentially rare event. Embedded in the squall line, a mesocyclone formed and produced a tornado within 15 minutes. These three slides show the velocity radar of the formation of the tornado. The red represents winds coming towards the radar station, and the green represents winds going away from the station. It begins as a broad rotation. It grows tighter and stronger, and at 11:34 Eastern Daylight Time, the tornado touches down. Using velocity radar reveals this tornado, but generic reflectivity radar does not. But roughly where the arrow points is where it touched down. The tornado began in Deerfield, New Hampshire, causing EF2 damage right away as soon as it touched down. EF2 damage means about 100 to 130 mile an hour winds, which can tear off roofs of homes and knock down large trees. In New England, trees are shallow rooted because water is present up to the surface, so trees don't have to dig down to find groundwater. In Tornado Alley, the ground is drier, so trees have deeper roots. This means them standing this keeps them standing during strong winds. The falling trees in New Hampshire pose a risk for roadway blockage and damage to homes all around. Assessing tornadic damage can be tricky. Often in strong thunderstorms, there are straight line winds that can be strong enough to cause damage that somebody may think is due to tornado. But the key difference between straight line winds and tornadic winds is the direction they blow objects. Straight line winds always go with the forward motion of the storm. So in this case, things like trees would be lying down from south southwest and north northeast. When trees were found lying perpendicular to the storm's movement, specifically east to west, it had to be due to a tornado. Because tornadoes rotate counterclockwise, they would push everything from right to left at the front end of the rotation. This rule was very helpful in finding exactly how strong the tornado was, as well as its path. Within 10 minutes of touching down, the tornado tragically claimed the life of a woman as strong winds collapsed the log house on top of her. She appeared to have shielded her 3-year-old grandson, likely saving his life. It is in these instances where a tornado shelter would have been ideal, but the rarity of this tornado was not worth the extra spending for most. Along with this home, 18 others were destroyed, and over 100 more were damaged. After Rockingham County, the tornado rolled into Merrimack County. The damage path widened to half a mile and thousands of trees were downed. Luckily, it did not cause any harm to people in this county. Then Belknap County was hit. The red line in the picture is the path of the tornado, and the county is highlighted in red. The tornado was in Belknap County for 12 miles. Strength fluctuated between EF0 and EF2 strength, and another house was destroyed. Another 86 homes were damaged as well. The tornado then briefly entered Stafford County, staying away from civilization. At this point, the tornado got uncomfortably close to several town centers. Wolfboro, New Durham, and Alton were all at or within a mile of its path. Regardless, many more thousands of trees were downed as the tornado barreled forward at close to 50 miles an hour. This high forward speed was important, especially in that part of the path. Often tornadoes are unpredictable with their strength, size, and direction they go. These two examples show it can happen when a storm is moving very little. Tornadoes in these storms can dance around the base of a mesocyclone and carve unusual paths, and a stalled storm can allow for a tornado to grow very wide. In Bennington, Texas, a slow-moving storm allowed for a tornado to turn around in a loop, and in El Reno, Oklahoma, the widest tornado was forecasted at 2.6 miles wide, as a slow-moving tornado gained more and more strength. If the New Hampshire tornado was moving slowly, more damage would have been done to homes as it would have spent more time over them before passing, and deviations in the path would likely turn into large towns, causing substantially more damage. However, this wasn't the case, and the tornado kept moving into its last county, Carroll County. Over 100 homes were damaged, and another home was destroyed in this county. The clearest reminder of the tornado can be seen from satellite and in areas on the ground. The image on the right shows an S-shaped part of the path, which is where the tornado weaved through a valley. Finally, in the northeastern corner of the state, still in Carroll County, the tornado lifted in Freedom, New Hampshire. Once again, satellite shows the path and the exact moment it lifted. Usually tornadoes slowly form and slowly dissipate or rope out, but this one started causing heavy damage right away and stopped in the same fashion. This tornado is a reminder that nature sometimes doesn't care about the environment it is in when it comes to severe weather. Anything can happen, so it is important to pay attention to forecasts and radar to make sure you're not going to be surprised by a tornado and you can be safe. In the event you are stuck in the path of a tornado, find an interior room or basement to stay in, and especially stay away from windows to protect yourself from flying debris. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed.